Hello, everybody. This is Football Psych, and I'm Coach Mad Mike.
It's Lord Sarge!
Yeah, he drags that out every time. And we are wrapping up. This is the 11th week of our analysis. If you've been following along with us for 8 weeks, we did divisional breakdowns. We went over wins and losses. In the past 2 weeks, we have gone through the AFC and the NFC, where we did wins and losses per NFL team, all 32 teams, and came up with who we thought would be the leaders of each one of those divisions and who might make the wild card. This week, we're putting on a bracket and giving our prediction on who's going to be the Super Bowl winner. I know it's entertainment. I know it's awful early. I know that you can make arguments about every team's one injury away from falling apart. However, it's the off season. Let's have fun.
Let's have a little fun, Coach Mad Mike. You know, we're not going to put scores on this. We decided not to do scores because we just thought that would be, well, frankly, way too much work. However, we have some wild predictions, and we're going to see. We're going to come back to this video as we go through the year and go through the season and see how we're doing based on our predictions. We think we have a very interesting scenario to show you guys tonight. So I'm really excited to see what everyone thinks about this and what our analysis looks like.
Yeah, so, get your beverage of choice, get your food out there and enjoy the show here, because you know what? I tell you what, we've done some analysis, and no other channel, no other sports channel, even on TV, NFL Network, any of those, none of them have done the type of analysis that we've done. I've been out there, I've looked. No one has taken on a challenge to do wins and losses of every single NFL team. Everybody goes like, hey, this is who I think is going to the Super Bowl this year. Well, we actually did it looking at every team's schedule, came up with what we thought was going to be the rankings out of all that, and then gave a playoff picture. So this isn't just based off of just some opinion that just popped in our head. We've been working on this thing for over 10 weeks, Lars.
It's not wishful thinking. It's actual football analysis.
That came out of the 90s. All right, well, we're going to get into it. So this is what we think the wild card round is going to look like. Boom, there it is, baby.
Oh, boy. Let's go. Coach Mad Mike, let's go. Let's go for a fly down the left side. Let's talk some Texans Raiders.
Touchdown every day. So, in the AFC, so if you've been following along, go back. You go like, hey, how'd you come up with these teams? You got to go back. You got to look at our other videos. If you want to know how we came up with the AFC picture the way it is, if you look at our divisional standings, what we did when we did the AFC, you'll see based off of wins and losses of every single team how we came up with this playoff picture. Same thing with the NFC. We did that too. So this is what came up. Now, there's all kinds of other teams. You're like, wait a minute, listen, I got the W on my hat. And they ain't on here. Would I love them to be on here? Oh, heck yeah, I would.
Could they be?
Could they be? I got them at about 8 wins. Sarge even thinks maybe 9.
If they got 9, they can be on the list.
They could squeeze in.
They could squeeze
would
in.
Would I love to be wrong and see Washington on this list? Oh, heck yeah. Yes, I would.
And you can note, all you fans out there, Large Sarge ain't crying about his Lions.
Nah, they looking really good. They got the number 1 seed in the NFC according to our analysis. That's crazy.
So before we go to wild card, let's talk about first seeds and go that way. Just because.
Okay.
And everyone expects the Lions to be there. I'm not talking about the Lions. If they don't get to first seed, then I'm changing the hats. But let's talk about Buffalo. Probably Commanders.
You put
Browns. I don't know, but they better dadgum well be first seed. But let's talk about Buffalo and their storied history about getting to the big game and blowing it. They've not won
4 years in a row under Marv Levy.
So, Coach Mad Mike, we got them as the number 1 seed. We got them coming back and back bigger and better than ever. And you know what? I can totally see that. Even though I think the Ravens are in there and a couple other teams in the wild card round are in there, I think Buffalo I think this is correct.
People always think the Chiefs are in there because everybody in the Chiefs organization automatically thinks they're three-peating.
Well, they're in the wild card. So some people may say, it's Josh Allen's hurt and all this other stuff. Well, we've got him being the number 1 seed this year. So let's break down the wild card slots and see why we went that direction, Coach Mad Mike.
Okay. Well, why we get that? Listen, I am all for disagreement. So if you're watching this show, don't turn off just because you're like, wait a minute, that's not what I think it's going to happen. No, put your comments in the comment section. Like, subscribe, put your comments in the comment section. We will respond to you. Mm-hmm. I look at this thing all the time. I look at our site all the time. I respond regularly and often. And so if you put comments, you write them back, you write me back, I write you back, and we just keep tagging. I will write you, and I will be loved more than have a debate on that stuff. And at the end of the day, neither one of us have to win. We'll see what happens in the season.
Yeah.
That's what I love, right? Because, we can argue and stuff like that. It don't matter. Time will tell who's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We could be completely off. And I expect somebody that we have on this board not to be there.
Oh, for sure, right? For sure. But I think a lot of people we got on the board are going to be there.
They're going to be there. A lot of them are going to be there. So we can argue if someone's going to be the 3rd or the 5th or the 7th seed.
You got the Texans and the Raiders.
Yeah, I do. I got the Texans and the Raiders.
I don't see how we're off on that one iota. I think that is a definite.
Yeah. And, the Raiders are going to squeak in, I believe. But when I look at their schedule, and we did the wins and losses thing, man, they have a favorable schedule.
Yes.
Like, it sets them up to have a playoff type of season.
Yeah, they got a chance. They got the people. They made the right moves. They got the motivation. Yeah, they should be. And Tinker Hell ought to be very pleased at our prediction.
Yeah, and I hope she's still out there. Tinker Hell, if you're
out there,
drop a comment.
She's
Let's
out
know
there.
Tinker Hell's still out there.
Now,
all right.
A lot of people would poke at us and stick an arrow in our, in our side for putting the Ravens in the wild card round as the number 3 seed. And a lot of people would say the Steelers ain't nothing this year. They ain't going to make it. And you and me both felt a lot stronger than the Steelers and even a lot of the Steelers fans that I talked to. But I don't think this is a wrong prediction either. I think the Ravens and the Steelers are going to go at it. And I think they're going to see each other in the playoffs and may the best man win. But historically, Ravens have been awesome down the beginning of the season and terrifying in the stretch. They let Kansas City walk into their house and beat them last year.
I don't see a problem with Baltimore being the number 3 seed. When you got Lamar Jackson and you got Derrick Henry, like, oof, you don't think they're going to be there fighting?
Oh, they're going to fight.
They're going to fight, man.
Yes, we'll see.
So if you're not a Baltimore Raven believer, you better get on the bandwagon because I will tell you, defenses are scared to go up against that combination.
Yep. Even without their offensive guards, it's still Derrick Henry.
Still Derrick
on his shoulder. He's got something to prove, right?
I was watching some film just the other day of him training. My gosh, that dude is a gym beast.
You remember when we went to the draft and they had Derrick Henry on the 40-yard dash and you could race Derrick Henry?
Oh yeah.
That was the coolest thing I ever saw in the draft. You could actually stand in line for 2 hours, but then you got to do a 40-yard dash against Derrick Henry. Ain't nobody winning.
Yeah, and I think he ran like 4.28 or something like that. Like he ran some sick amount of time, like the fastest running back in the NFL.
I saw fat boys, thin boys, all boys, a couple girls. No, yeah, they were all laughing by the time they got to the end because Derrick Henry was already going, "What you got?"
Oh, he was already having lunch by the time.
And he looks good this year. He looks good.
The
Steelers, I'm all behind it. I am very counter opposed to the Steelers having an off year. I just think they've got the right tools with the right people and the right motivation. I mean, they got in last year. Now they're better than they were last year. So how can they not get we'll see. So let's talk Miami and KC. This one I'm not so sure about. KC, it's kind of a given when you got Patrick Mahomes, but Miami lost some key pieces this year. There's some question marks on Tagliavola. So, yeah, like we said, like Coach Mad Mike said, you could argue with us. Why'd you put in that team or the other team? It's kind of strength of schedule and other things. Miami's one of those ones where I think they could be there or could be another team in there.
I would just say, like, instead of just going immediately off of opinion, right? Go back and watch our AFC show.
100%.
Because our AFC show, it's not just like we go down each team's win and losses. And that's where the debate is, right? Is in the wins and losses. Are they going to split games inside their division?
Yeah.
Who are they going up against? Where are they going on the road and win? And then, of course, it's all dependent upon injuries, blah, blah, blah. But, like, we make the case of why Miami. It's not like we just pulled it out of a hat.
No. Yeah.
Right? So, like, fans, if you're watching this and you're just like, hey, how'd you come up with Miami? Well, go back and look at that. Go back and look at the AFC video that we did. And then you'd be like, oh, okay, I kind of see where they got this from. And then leave comments there on that video. Leave comments on this one, whether you think it there and if you think somebody else is going to be there, we're not tracking, beat up our analysis on that other video and then put your comments on this one too. We would love more than happy. So let's talk NFC. Wild card.
Coach Mad Mike, back to the AFC for a sec. So the ones that I feel are locks for the wild card, Texas, Ravens, Chiefs. The ones that I think could go any way it goes, Raiders, Steelers, Miami. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Texans, Ravens, Chiefs is pretty much a lock for the playoffs. Unless something drastic happens to either one of those teams. There is no reason in the world they shouldn't get there, right?
You would like to think, but I see shockers every year. Like I remember last year, like nobody had Houston going to the playoffs.
Right.
And they shocked everybody. Right. So you always have that team that comes out of nowhere. And everybody wants to be that team. If you didn't make the playoffs, everybody's just like, oh, we want to be like Houston. Man, that rarely ever happens, right? And then it's very rare that like a top seeded team like falls from grace like quick, but we've seen that happen too. So like, if Lamar Jackson, for instance, goes down, it can happen. Over. Patrick Mahomes goes down.
Season over.
Right? So you just never really know, right? It could happen. CJ Stroud in Houston goes down. You think they're number 2 seed anymore? No.
Yep.
Right? So, all right. So we ready for NFC?
Absolutely.
So we talked about the number 1 seed there, the Lions. Very, very nice season, but man, they had a lot of playoff games that were decided by 1 point or like within
a number of games. Luck was on the Lions side last year. Will it last this year? Because they're going to need it. Did they improve? Hands down, the top of the NFL. Yes, they improved their D. So that should guarantee a solid performance. But it's Dan Campbell. And you know how he hates his kicker. So, gosh only knows what's going to happen, but I'm okay with this predicting for the number 1 seed. I'm good with it.
Yeah, well, they got their new UFL kicker, too. They got Bates. They signed him. We'll see what they're going to do between Bates and Badgley. But, he doesn't like kickers anyway, as it doesn't seem. He likes to go 4 on 4 down because that's what the analysis says.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Why do we go to the next slide?
I don't know why we did that, but okay.
Oh, sneak preview. We weren't done with the NFC yet. So we got Eagles and Rams. We got Tampa Bay Bucks and Green Bay, and we got Chicago and San Francisco. So, San Francisco, we believe it's going back to the playoffs again.
They're at least as good as they were last year, right? They're at least as good as they were last year.
They were. I think the glowing story, and we talked about this in the NFC picture, is what's going to happen with Ayuk. I think Ayuk stays. I think it's going to be a distraction, but I think that they're still a playoff contending team. They still got Debo Samuel there. They got a lot of solid pieces. I mean, they're okay.
But look at what we predicted, and look at what division in the NFC is represented with 3 teams.
Yeah, the NFC North.
Ooh. The NFC North is all of a sudden a competitive. When did they ever have that?
It's been a while.
Powerful.
They used to be back in the day. They used to be like in the 80s. They used to be the black and blue division, right?
Yeah,
like you don't want to mess with those guys because you're going to have a hard physical bruising game, right? I wouldn't say they're back to that, but they're definitely dominant, right?
Yeah.
The league's just changed since those days.
But. It sure has. So the Rams, I think, are good enough to get back. Can they be? The Eagles are definitely good enough to get back with Saquon, right? I don't think anyone's going to question us on that. The Rams could go either way, but I think the Eagles are a lock, right? They should be a lock to get into the playoffs.
Oh, definitely. They're just a very, very well-rounded, solid football team.
Tampa Bay got deep last year. They didn't make any major changes. They held all their people together. There's no reason they shouldn't be competitive this year. It's Green Bay that probably, I think the question's out. Did they improve enough? It's questionable whether they got any improvement. Did they have any loss? No, but is Jordan Love going to be better this year than it was last year and be able to close deals where he lost them last year? Are they going to get a late start like they did last year, or are they going to be on fire early? So I say there's a question mark on either one of those teams. What do you think?
Yeah, we got them as a late seed, right?
Yeah.
So, could somebody else squeeze in, like, say, the Commanders? But,
right.
You never know, right? But, like, when we, again, go back and look at the NFC Outlook, people. Leave us your comments. We love to hear from you. This is your opportunity, fans, to participate. Like, this is a participation sport.
Absolutely.
You're not buying a ticket just sitting there drooling on yourself eating nachos, right? You can eat nachos and drink beer. But try not to get the beer and the nacho sauce on your keyboard. But leave comments. Right?
Now, I think the sleeper here is Chicago with their number 1 draft pick. And that wide receiver core from hell, right? I think
Caleb Williams there. So, yeah.
They were a couple games out last year. I think they got enough done to get in this year. What do you think, Coach Mad Mike? You think you solid with that?
I am. I am very solid with it. We'll see. I've been, for those who've been following the show for a while now, I've been very, very, I poo-poo on Chicago quarterbacks because I think it's a hard transition. Chicago in Soldier Field is not an easy thing being a quarterback there, because when it gets cold and it gets windy, it's not quarterback friendly.
Yeah, it's a different game, right?
It's a different game. And unless you've played consistently in that kind of environment, quarterbacks go to Chicago and struggle.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Caleb does. Again, he played college football at USC. So, like, it's not like he played in that environment at all.
Yeah, exactly. He's a warm weather good boy.
So, anyway.
All right,
let's
man.
Go to the next round. Divisional round.
Oh, Lord. What do you have going on?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, looky there.
We have Kansas City beating
there's no 3 teams, KC, Texan, and the Ravens. I told you that's what it was going to be. I told you.
And so that makes this some pretty interesting matches, because KC will be lined up against Buffalo. Oh, my goodness, would that be a game? That would be a game. And then the Texans against the Ravens. Oh, my goodness, another great game. I would just love to see this matchup.
It would be nuts. And listen, if KC gets to go against Buffalo, especially as Buffalo at home, I know Mahomes is powerful in the end of the season, but I don't know if they make it this year. I don't know if they make it past this round this year against Buffalo. If Buffalo's the number 1 seed, that means they're going to be.
I mean, we'll get to the next round here in a second, but let's go over to the NFC. What I like is the rematch.
Yeah.
The Lions against the 49ers.
So do you think they pull it out? We'll see on the next slide.
We'll see on the next slide, right?
Philly and Tampa Bay. I feel less confident about the NFC at the divisional level than I did about the AFC at the divisional level.
AFC looks strong.
Yeah, I mean, I think those picks are very. I think you could take that to I might even go to Vegas and put some money on that one. The NFC,
it's tough. The NFC's tough.
Ooh, they got so many teams down that could do something. I'm not sure. They
have so many teams that could do something, but you don't have 4 powerhouses like you do in the AFC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when you look at the AFC, you're like, yeah, those are definitely the 4 powerhouse guys, right? So it's like, I don't see too many. You argue who's going to be what seed, but like, is too many people going to argue with that those are the 4 best AFC teams? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's hard, right?
NFC is hard to say who are the 4 best teams in the NFC.
I mean, I can go with 3. I'm okay with San Fran. I'm okay with the Lions. And I'm okay with Philly. Tampa Bay, it could be Green Bay.
Well, we got Green Bay as the number 6 seed.
Yeah.
But it could be an upset game. You never know. Like, there's an upset every year, too, right?
Man. So, but I feel good about San Fran, the Lion, and Philly. I think those are good calls, actually, this year, based on what we saw from the last 8 weeks. I think those are solid calls.
All right, you ready to see the next one?
Oh, boy, here we go. I'm ready.
Boom!
Buffalo and the Ravens, the Lions and the Eagles. Oh
my gosh. So we got Buffalo ending the dream of a three-peat for the Chiefs. The Chiefs go home after the divisional round, losing to the Buffalo Bills.
I'm good with that, actually. I'm very good with that.
And I told y'all, and we all looked in the outlook of the AFC. You got to go back and look at it. One of my predictions is that Taylor Swift cries for some reason. She cries.
Taylor Swift cries, if I remember correctly.
Taylor Swift cries. She sure does.
Maybe that's why. You have to go back and look. Oh, dear Lord. And the Ravens squeaked the Texans. Okay, I'm good with that, actually. I'm very good with
that. The Ravens beat the Texans. The Texans have another good, solid season, but, I don't see them getting past Baltimore, man. So that makes a heck of a conference championship game. Bills-Ravens. Oh, my gosh, I would love to see that game.
If that's what comes down, that's going to be nuts. All right,
and then on the other side.
Let's talk about my home team here.
Your home team beats the 49ers.
That is a comeback from hell, right?
That is a comeback from hell, yes.
They put down the 49ers and get to the conference this year. That team is going to be so sky high, off their heels, motivated. I don't know that any freight train could stop them if they beat San Francisco. If they have to beat San Fran to get to the conference.
Dan Campbell could stop and decide not to use this kicker.
That is going to be a revenge game from hell. And
it's going to be so much fun to watch.
They're going to be so pumped. Dan Campbell is so hungry. He can taste it.
Oh, my gosh. Who doesn't want to see that game?
Oh, I totally want to see it.
Everybody wants to see that game. Come on, sports fans. Leave your comments, but you want to see that game.
Yep.
And then nobody's going to really disagree with me that the Eagles can take care of the Bucs.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that is a given, right?
I think if that's what the picture looks like, I think the Eagles got them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So then it makes for a very, very solid matchup between the Eagles and the Lions.
And that would be a home game in Detroit, right?
It would be a home game in Detroit. And it would be insane.
I got Quigleys in my tummy. I got Quigleys thinking about that.
Oh my goodness!
Detroit. Oh, we have to be there for that game if that happens. We have to go.
Oh my gosh, we got to go to Detroit, man. No, it's inside in Detroit.
I see that as a notable. I see that as an absolutely foreseeable outcome there. So
yeah.
All right, man.
So that brings us to which two teams are going to the Super Bowl out of this thing, and who is our predicted winner? Are you ready for it, Lord Sarge?
Give me!
Boom!
No! Buffalo takes the cake finally after all these years? Are you serious?
So Buffalo beats the Ravens and sends them back to home. Your Lions go home. The Eagles beat them. And then what happens is Buffalo and the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. And I think, and I guarantee you, nobody else is predicting Buffalo. I have Buffalo for the first time in franchise history winning a Super Bowl. Marv Levy gets to see it after the 4 years that he has. Like the team, you're going to see people like Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed come out of the woodworks and say, oh my gosh, I got to live to see Buffalo win a Super Bowl. This is the year, baby. Woo!
Coach Mad Mike, strictly as an NFL fan, I mean, let me turn this hat around. As an NFL fan, right? NFL. As an NFL purist.
Who wouldn't want to see
that happen? I'd love to see that. Would I be sad? I wouldn't be sad. That would be a fantastic game. Watching Buffalo finally get it would be great. But I am not an NFL fan. I'm a Lions fan.
So let me tell you something else.
Taking my Lions at home against the Eagles. What are you doing, Coach Mad Mike?
And I predict Dan Campbell's going to blow it by not kicking the field goal. He's going to go for it on fourth down.
Right. I agree with everything that Coach Mad Mike says from here on out, period.
Here's another bit of history for all you old-timers out there, because I'm an old-timer, right? If you remember the 4 Super Bowls that Buffalo lost when they were on that 4-year consecutive run, it was 1 year against the Giants. It was 1 year against the Redskins. And it was 2 years against the Dallas Cowboys.
That's right.
And so they come back into the division and they finally win one against the only other division opponent they haven't won the Super Bowl with, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. There you go. Dropping mad facts.
You know, wouldn't that be a story, right? Because
the story, man. I'm saying it already.
They lost against every other division opponent.
You need to be an NFL sports writer.
Come back and take the Eagles out would be something. Oh boy. Well, you know what, folks?
I would be an NFL sports writer, but they don't pay very much, so I won't do it.
You know, there's just enough fact and enough guesswork and excitement in this playoff and Super Bowl bracket to actually make it believable. You know what I mean? I could totally see things shaking this way this year. Totally see it.
Went real hard. You're like, oh man, I can see it.
Yep. I totally see it. That's crazy.
And if you want to see the analysis about like coming back into it, again, go back and watch our other shows.
Yeah.
Because we spent 8 weeks breaking down each of the divisions, and we spent the past 2 weeks going over the AFC and NFC wins and losses by team. Like that's how we came up with the teams to make the bracket. It wasn't just who we thought the teams that were going to be there. Like
it was based on wins and losses, and
we did it based off of wins and losses for all 32 teams,
which was based on the draft and free agency.
That's right, which was based on draft, free agency, coaching changes, what we think it was going to do. Obviously it was matchups. It was like everything that we think. We even came up with storylines of who we thought might even get hurt again.
Yeah. Exactly.
So like it was like all kinds of crazy stuff went into it.
Yep.
So like obviously, like I will tell you what, I'm excited about this football season, Sarge.
So I can't wait to madden this out with you. But this is going to be crazy to go back and look at this analysis and see what the prediction, see what all the work we did, how close we were. This is going to be crazy cool. And do
we're probably not close at all. But like it's gonna be fun watching it.
And do a wrap at the end of the year, for all the fans out there. By the way, thank you. We've been steadily growing subs. We're at 1591. We're about ready to break 1600, folks. Thank you all for watching and subscribing and telling your friends. We appreciate it. So
go ahead and keep telling your friends and stuff, and let's get us over 1600. Let's keep rocking and rolling.
Yeah, and we hope this will be a yearly deal that we'll do in this kind of like this dark mode. In the NFL where, after the draft and free agency, before training camp, we're planning to do this every year and bring us back as a feature and get more of you involved in it. We did some polls on the community tab for you. All responded there. We took a look at that too. So we appreciate your participation there. You did a great job. Thank you very much, subs. And that's what I wanted to say.
And so I'm gonna ask you guys that are still watching right now, if you want us to live stream this thing, just type in the comments. Bring on the live stream. Bring on the live stream. I live stream the Commanders Edition every Monday. We can live stream this every Friday. You got to ask for it. You ask for it, we bring it.
We can deliver it. We can deliver
it. Instead of just like typing in your comments, like if you want to spend Friday nights with us and chat with us football, we're going to do it. I will tell you in the Commanders Edition, like at the end of this month, we are going to be at the Commanders training camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to do some late breaking news for Large Sarge there, but he's contemplating doing some Lions stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He is. Just so if you want to see something, we want to please you. Put your comments in the comment section. Any parting comments there, Large Sarge?
Nothing further but to say thank you, Coach Mad Mike.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you, Lord Sarge, for everything that you do. We thank you, fans. Stay tuned. I have no idea what kind of show we're going to do next week, but we're leading up to training camp, and we're all excited because we want football. We want football.